Oh, you're listening? Okay. Oh, I'm listening. I'm talking, so that's the way it should go. Next belief. Next belief. I'll either get what I want. No, strike that. I'll either enjoy the process of getting what I want or beyond what I wanted, or I'll enjoy the process of learning what I need to get what I want or better. So here's the belief. I'll say it again. I'll put it a little different way. I'll put it like this. I'll either get what I want or better, or I'll enjoy the process of learning what I need to get what I wanted or even better. You get it? Yeah. So I'll either get what I want or better, or I'll enjoy the process of learning what I need to get what I want, or something better than I even imagined. Try it like that. So if you really incorporate this belief, what will it do to your fear of failure? Well, there's not going to be any failure, right? You're either going to get what you want or better, or you're going to enjoy the process of learning what you need to get what you want, or better than you imagined, right? So that's the belief. So write that one down. I'll either get what I want or better. Put it this way, I'll either get what I want or better than I imagined, or I'll enjoy the process of learning what I need to get what I want or even better than I imagined. Now, if this became something you really incorporated, if it wasn't just something you wrote in a book once or paid lip service to, but something that really guided your life, think about that. Think about the implications of this. Stop a minute and really think about it. What would that do to any area of your life where you wanted to go learn something? Let's go try walk-ups. Let's go try walk-ups in a church service. Okay, let's see what happens. Either I'll get what I want or better than I imagine, I'll learn what I need to. And again, we're not just going to give you these beliefs. We're going to give you a process to incorporate them, and then we're going to give you a ritual to actually learn what you need to from experience. Beliefs are practical tools, and if you combine the beliefs with a ritual to do and apply them, then they become even more practical.
Can you give us some words again, please?
I'll either get what I want or better than I imagined, or I'll enjoy the process of learning what I need to get what I want or better than I imagined. You can apply this to any skill. Let's say you want to learn how to sell cars, right? Or you want to learn how to be a bridge builder. Yes, sir?
If you switch the I's to U's, could that make an effective incantation?
It doesn't matter. You can play back. He said if you switch the I to you, you'll either get what you want. You could write it that way if you want. For this one, I just happen to think of it as an I. I don't know why. That's my own quirk. But think about that. Think about that belief and really what that could do for you. If you really, who's a little slow in speed seduction, not going where they really want to go yet? Think about if you really incorporated that belief, what it would free you up to try. I try some of the most outrageous shit now. Now my thought is, if I really wanted to be totally melodramatic and really get real and totally confrontational with people, like right in their fucking face.
Because you're not already.
Well, no, I'm not. You should see. Like really confrontational. How would I do it? Like, I had some chick who, well, we won't go there. We'll let that one go. Yes, I can. I was showing something to some girl. I did a little card reading with her, and the next day she said, "That came true. Everything you said came true. That's really weird. I'm freaked out about that." I said, "No, you're not. You're not freaked out about this. You're freaked out about the fact that life is much more than you thought it was, and life is challenging you to step outside of your scared, weak little shell that you live in. So don't give me that bullshit." She went, "You're right." I said, "What's weird? You want to know what's weird? What's weird is turning away from learning that could change your life. So maybe you better fucking consider that." She's like, "You're right." Just, okay. Well, that worked. It frees you up to try all sorts of bizarre stuff. I want you guys to really step outside the bounds. Step outside the bounds and look someone in the eye and go, you know, we could do all this traditional stuff. We could go for coffee, but I sense that you're ready to fuck right now. So get on your knees and suck me right now. Just try it. See, it's not whether it works, whether it's respectful or disrespectful, just to test your boundaries, just to really push you're laughing, but it's the laugh of freedom. I want you guys to have that experience of totally breaking a boundary, right? Go into a pizza place and order sushi and insist that if they don't give you the sushi, they're being racist because you're black. I'm completely serious. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Push your boundaries, because you're either going to learn something useful or you'll get what you want or even better than you expected. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't do it here in Mexico, because if they arrest you, you're guilty till proven innocent. It's Napoleonic justice, so you don't want to mess around in Mexico. Unless you got a lot of bribe. You know? How do you say it? Mordida? Mordida. Same, mordida. All right, next belief. Next belief. Those two right there are powerful enough to get you anywhere you want to go. Those are pretty fucking powerful right there. And the corollary to the first one. Next belief. Look up here. By now I should have you trained in how to learn from me. The resources inside of me, the resources inside of, not me, but you, the resources inside of me are greater. Don't fucking write now. You're supposed to look at me. I'm going to train you to stop interrupting yourself. This is a parasitic activity on your part, to not follow directions. Just like, by the way, I get the sense that you look different. Your internal dialogue is not where it was, is it?
I'm not talking as much in my head anymore.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. And you look different. Your face is more symmetrical, and your shoulders have dropped. I'm telling you, that was a parasitic activity infecting every area of your life. It's like a huge virus that was not only infecting the application programs like Microsoft Word or Internet Navigator, but also the core software. Now we debugged it, and everything will run much more smoothly, far less energy, more efficiently, more effectively. These kind of parasitic activities. Okay? So, the resources inside of me are greater than any challenge I may face internally or externally in the outside world. So write that down. The resources inside of me are greater than any challenge I may face internally, or externally in the outside world. Yes, sir. Wiederholen. The resources inside of me are greater than any challenge I may face internally or externally in the outside world. And I believe more and more the hard science shows that this is the case. I don't believe that there's anyone here. I've had students come to me say, I'm blocked. What do you mean? I'm blocked when it comes to women. I'm blocked. Well, show me your block. Well, it's not outside, it's in my head. Oh, really? You're blocked in your brain. I always say this to them. The most scientific ones always get it right away. So, okay, you're blocked. Mm-hmm, sure. Okay, so how many neurons do you have in your brain? Any biologists, doctors, people who studied this here? Huh? A billion? Let's say conservatively a billion, all right? And now they have things, not just neurons, but glial cells and also microtubules, yes, in the brain?
Yes, it's
What's that?
the microtubules.
Many people believe the microtubules are sufficiently coherent and complex to work on the quantum level, that they actually can process information non-locally. There's some theories about that. Given enough complexity and enough coherence, all sorts of weird things start to happen non-locally. We'll get there. Say again? Tubules, tubules, whatever. Thank you, I'll take the correction. Tubules. My point being this. I said to the student, let's factor in those glial cells and the microtubules and all this other stuff. How many possible connections between all of those are there? He said, well, you couldn't calculate it. I said, that's right. So you mean to tell me when it comes to women, you've tried every possible combination and none of them have worked? And he said, well, that can't be true. I said, absolutely right. It can't be true, and it's not true. What you're really telling me is you've dug a rut. There's a certain pathway of connections that you consistently go to, and those don't work for you. I'll buy that. So this notion that the resources inside here are greater than it, well, it's true. It's just a matter of turning off the things that got in your way of accessing them. You understand? And I'm not just turning off things for you here. I'm showing you a way to search out and continue to debug and turn off those other things. You understand? So, it's true. It's not just a belief. I think it's true that the resources inside you are greater than any challenge you may face internally or externally in the outside world. Is that a question, or are you just scratching your bum? Okay. Yes, you have a question? No? Next belief. I want to say, when you take on these beliefs and really make them real, you become very charismatic. Women will be drawn to you, and they won't know why. They will not know why. Because so many people walk through the world in fear of making a mistake. I can't tell you in my work as a change worker and giving talks to different people, how many people have told me, you know, women especially, I was so suppressed by my father and my mother, I was never allowed to voice my own opinion. I was always afraid of making mistakes. So many people are running on this, the opposite of what I'm giving you. You wouldn't believe. And the really cool thing is you lose your fear of people. When you lose your fear of people, you lose your resentment and you lose your anger and you lose your hate. And you just soften in the right ways. I'm very serious about this. If you know that beautiful woman who used to intimidate the shit out of you, if you could peek in her head and see all these programs that are keeping her tied up, and not in a very photographically interesting way. That's my little Groucho, by the way. I'm doing Groucho there. I channel Groucho. Well, then you begin to go, wait a minute, I don't need to be afraid of her. She's got a couple of punches and then she's done. She's got one or two things she relies on and then she's out of ammo. She's got nothing. You understand? You begin to see that people are not scary at all. Although they may appear, well, they can. You know, I'm not talking about physical danger. You get what I'm talking about? It gives you a real advantage. And I'm always looking for the edge, for the advantage. That's a value for me. So, the next one is, at any moment, oh, you can write that down. Did I give it to you word for word? The resources inside of me are greater than any challenge I may face internally or externally in the outside world. You can write that down now. Okay, then the next one. At any moment, I can connect into a source of wisdom, power, and ability that's virtually without limit. It's essentially saying you can connect into this. So at any moment, I can connect into a source of wisdom, power, ability. Put in your other values, choice, that's virtually without limit. Write it down. I have an interesting experiment for you to do in a minute, JD. At any moment, JD, my assignment for you, sir, when you go home, you have an Office Max or a big office supply store near you, go and buy the most outrageously colored markers you can get and get a huge artist sheet, twice the size of that, and write those out in different colors on big easel-sized paper. You hear what I'm saying?
I already do that. I have colored pencils.
Do you write them big or small? Do you write them big or small? Dude, that's small. Okay? Think big. Look at me. I'm not making fun of you. I am making fun of you, but do you understand? Write them really huge on big, and then the other assignment is switch and write them with your non-dominant hand.
All right.
Okay? That's just for you. So at any moment, I can tap into a source of power, wisdom, ability, skill that's virtually without limit. You get that? Yes.
You're talking a minute ago about
Yes.
express their opinion.
Yes.
Like sometime during the week, can you tell us how to keep from screwing our kids up like this?
His question was, I was talking about people whose parents have suppressed them from expressing their opinions. How can we keep from doing that to our own kids? Well, I wouldn't keep from doing that. I would do something that works better and turn my back on all of that and say, what would work? First of all, where they're good models. Look for models. Who is a good model for allowing their kids to have appropriate amounts of freedom of expression? Now, you don't want to use me as a model because I was given too much, I think. You know, I'm not necessarily, no. My parents are really good for that area of life. We were restricted on what we could do. They were very overprotective, right? But when it came to freedom of expression, I could say or do anything. I got slapped sometimes, you know. I remember my mom saying, apologize, smack, apologize. No, apologize, no, I'm right, apologize, no. And I looked at her, I said, just because you have the power to hurt me doesn't mean your ideas are more right. And she froze. And she dropped the shoe, and she walked out of the room. I went, Eureka, persuasion works. Now she's cute. She's so feeble she can barely make a mark on me. I'm like, come on, Mom. Try that smacking around now. She'll just grab me and give me a little kiss like that. No, she loves her son. So, what's my point here? Okay, if you don't know my point, everyone stand up. Time to wake up. Do I need to PT you guys? You will listen to me and do as I say. Reach up. Breathe. All right, sit down. Very good. Now then, so at any moment, I can tap into a source of wisdom, skill, ability, etc., virtually without limitation. This just is really saying to you, look, your consciousness and your intelligence and your personality is not limited, I thought might be Charlene, is not limited to what you experience in this physical body. I happen to believe that we have another aspect of our consciousness that's participating outside of this at all times anyway. What do you want to call that? The gods, angels, guardian angels, your higher self. And this is something interesting. I had a theory that I was bandying about the other day with Roger. I believe at a sufficient level of complexity and coherence, any system with sufficient complexity and coherence allows this kind of intelligence to participate. So if we build computers of sufficient complexity and coherence, it's not that the computers become intelligent, it's that they become a vehicle for this. That this doesn't need biology to participate. This can participate in anything that's sufficiently coherent and complex. So it may be not that we actually create artificial intelligence, it's that we create sufficient complexity and coherence that intelligence comes in from outside and participates. And if we can do it with sufficient biochemical complexity, we may be able to do it electronically. I think that's how we'll hit artificial intelligence. Not that we program it in, that we create the sufficient and necessary conditions for it to come in and participate. That'll be weird, won't it? Too much coffee. Now I'm really speculating, but yeah, it sounds like a real interesting idea, isn't it? Huh? What? Get ready to be fucking scared because they're working on quantum computing and using carbon nanotubiles, and both of those, they're working on that. It's going to happen. And then you're going to get all sorts of quirky shit that no one anticipated. Huh? Sure, go ahead. It's a small group. We're all friends here.
Footprints of God.
Footprints of God? No, what is that? L. Ron Hubbard? No, I'm teasing.
Where this guy designs a supercomputer by taking a super MRI of 5 people's minds and putting it into a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And this computer basically has artificial intelligence and basically shuts down everything.
Wow. Well, I don't believe in artificial intelligence. I believe in real intelligence that just happens to manifest non-biologically. But anyway, okay. Next, now they're getting a little bit simpler. Next belief is simply, I can learn to do anything. I can learn to do anything that anyone else has done, I can learn to do as well. The belief is anything that anyone else has learned to do, I can learn to do as well. That's the belief. So write it down. That's pretty simple, yes. That doesn't need much explanation, does it? My parents set the example that I could learn anything. My mother would say, go find out, go look it up. You find out, you find the answer. Now, practically speaking, if someone is good at something, you want to obviously find out how they're doing it, how they're creating it. This gets into the skill of modeling. And Kim and Tom remind them to talk to you about using 3D Mind to model. All right? And the final one I want to give you is more of an observation. So don't write it down yet. My observation is, just as you cannot, look up here, just as you cannot not persuade, you're always going to persuade one way or the other. Your communication is always going to have some outcome. You can't not persuade. People are going to have some response to you. So too, you cannot not learn. You're always going to be learning something if by reason of the fact that your mind, the brain is always looking for meaning and it's always drawing conclusions. You can't not learn. You may learn the wrong thing. You may learn things that don't serve you. For example, well, if she rejected me, that means I'm a failure forever and no woman will fuck me. Or this means I need to go to work out in the gym and put out 30 pounds of muscle. That'll make me more appealing. You may learn the wrong thing, but you're always learning something. The mind always is drawing conclusions and looking for meaning. So granted that you're always learning something, granted that you cannot not learn, you may as well choose what it is you're going to learn in any situation. So the belief would be, granted that I cannot not learn, granted that I'm always going to learn something, I'm going to choose what it is I learn in and from any situation. Granted, so here it is, granted that I cannot not learn. Granted that I cannot not learn, I will select and choose what I'm going to learn from any situation. Does that make sense? Your mind is always going to be drawing conclusions and searching for meaning. Human minds desperately need meaning. Humans will kill each other over the conflicting meanings they give to events. It's called ideology. I'm going to learn from and in any situation. Now, I'm not saying, this is very important, I'm not saying you always have control over events, you damn well don't. All the more reason why you may as well choose what it is you're going to learn and the meaning you're going to attach. This is not a new idea for me. Philosophers have been saying it for thousands of years. I'm just giving you some different tools. Things are going to happen that you don't like. So the question is, what are you going to learn from it? What are you going to draw from it? And what are the specific tool sets that enable you to do that much more effectively without dragging old crap into new difficulties? Yes? Yes, I'll repeat the question.
I will select and choose what I'm going to learn from and in any situation.
Yeah.
Is that both whilst you're in it and afterwards? Or one
Yes, the question is, when I say I always select and choose what I'm going to learn from and in any situation, does that mean while you're in it and afterwards? As far as possible, yes. I want to learn right there on the spot. But see, Roger, when you proactively take these beliefs along and recharge them every day, it doesn't take much. I'm going to show you how to convert them before the end of the day. Then you're always going to have them around. Granted, some areas are going to be harder. Like when I really honestly, it's not that I just believed my mother was dying. My mother was dying. We had her in hospice. The conclusion, medical conclusion was your mother is dying. We know how long it's going to take, but she's dying now. Man, I learned a lot about how much I could call on people for support and how much emotion I could feel safe to release. I learned about letting it out and not bottling it. I let it out, my sister let it out, my brother bottled it, I let it out. Like, I lost it. We were there we transferred her to she's doing much better now. We transferred her to a nursing home. And at some point, she was so delusional, she was saying things like, why am I here? I'm in prison. They're looking for a scapegoat. Why are they punishing me? And when my mother said, why are they punishing me? I lost it. I went out of the room and was just hysterical. Hysterical. I mean, all this, training just flew out the window. That's my mother saying, why are they punishing me? What did I do wrong? I just couldn't take it. My sister was there comforting me. And my brother was talking to my sister, like ignoring my emotional display. I just kept going and going and going until like there was nothing left on it. But then I was okay. I returned back to equilibrium, and I really learned. Sometimes the lesson is, wow, you can release things, people will be there to support you, and then you get back to equilibrium as best you can. I also learned to enjoy all the moments I could when I was not in that state, much more. Just sitting there on the balcony with some licorice tea with my cats, watching my cats make complete asses of themselves, being stupid, lovable creatures. I learned to just savor that every morning before I would go visit my mom. That was my time. No one was going to bother me. No grief thoughts came in. No sadness came in. This is my selfish time, like air that I breathe underwater from a mask, right? Sometimes, but you're going to learn something. You're going to learn something. So what are you going to learn in that situation, right? And so I learned some things also about setting some boundaries with my siblings and what I thought was right and what I thought was wrong. I also learned when my own judgment was wrong. And finally, I learned when it comes down to these things, you never fucking know. You never fucking know. So, I'm not saying, the goal of this seminar is not to make you a Superman. Bigger things in life will happen than your own immediate wishes and desires. You can count on it. That's what makes life, if life is not a wishing well, in my opinion, this is not about making life a wishing well. You can certainly do magic and make things happen much more quickly, don't get me wrong. But there's always going to be real suffering, real challenge, real pain in life. Doesn't mean that's all there is, but there's going to be real stuff, so what are you going to do with it? How are you going to do with it? And finally, you know what it taught me? It taught me what really counts. If some girl doesn't fucking return my call, you think I'm going to fucking care when my mother is laying there dying, and I don't know whether I'm going to see her again, or when I left for London, I talk about my life because it's important that people see I'm a real human being. I practice what I preach. When I left for London, my mother was dying, incoherent, delusional, and I didn't know, she had moments of clarity. I didn't know whether I would come back to her alive or whether I would come back, she wouldn't know who I was. And I asked her, I said, should I go? And she kind of snapped out of it. She said, go. She said, I said, but Mom, I won't be able, she said, don't make excuses, go, and you better do a good job. Okay, Mom gave me permission, I went. But I didn't know the whole time I was there what I'd be coming back to. I share this with you to show you that I practice what I preach. I'm a human being. I have had profound challenges. This last year has been the most difficult year of my life, but also the most beautiful, the most rewarding, the most productive, far and away the best year too. It's practice, 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 and sometimes it just still fucking sucks and smells like shit. Oh well. At least you have some tools here, okay? We good?
Yes.
Take a 5-minute break, 10-minute break. Okay, we got that? Let's wake up. Come on, I'm still teaching. I still got energy. You're sitting there like bumps on stumps. We're going to do something real quick. Cut the camera and action. Never waste an opportunity to repeat a good story. So this whole idea of getting off of autopilot. There are many different kinds of autopilot that manifest in different ways. Sometimes it's just an emotional response that's always there. Sometimes it's a particular behavioral response. Sometimes it's just that you're missing an entire area of skill. Sometimes you just have to add in beliefs. But you know, where I got really interested in this whole idea of autopilot and how people habitually return to those same frames is two things really influenced me. One was many years back, I took a stage hypnosis seminar. It was actually quite a talented fellow by the name of Mike Dubay. And Mike Dubay, in the seminar, was showing a video. I know I'm not stacking realities on you. I'm showing, this is actually what happened. He showed a video of a show he did with some college kids, a stage show, where he puts people up on stage and hypnotizes them. And he had a group of guys on stage, and he said, gentlemen who are listening to the sound of my voice, in a moment I'm going to awaken you, and you're going to see me holding a little rag doll. It's nothing but a little rag doll, but when I say the word pomegranate, gentlemen, this is no longer a rag doll. This is the most exciting, beautiful, vivacious, sexy woman, your soulmate, the love of your life. You're stuck to your chair, glued to your chair. You cannot get out of your chair. You must do everything you can to cajole, convince, and get this beautiful woman to come to you and be the love of your life. 1, 2, 3, wake up, gentlemen. He says, now what do you think of this? Oh, that's just a stupid doll. Very good, gentlemen, but pomegranate. Suddenly these guys are, oh, baby, come here, baby, please. Baby, I love you. We were meant to be together. Come to me. Oh, baby, please, please. They're all, and he would hang them the doll, and they would begin humping this rag doll. They're humping and tonguing the rag doll. I'm like, fuck, holy shit. And then afterwards I thought, what made that so funny? Well, first of all, what made it funny is they were responding so strongly to such an inappropriate cue. Had he brought a real live stripper on stage, an actual real live breathing flesh and blood stripper, and said, gentlemen, you're glued to the chair, but you have to convince this stripper to come over to you, and she sat on her lap and they were really humping him, it would be funny, but not quite so funny. Do you understand? And then I thought, you know, the really disturbing thing is, these guys didn't have to think it through. They knew how to behave. Somewhere in the back of their head, they had a program for being a total AFC beggar and fool when it came to a woman that was supposed to be there. So not one of them said, hey, not one said, hey, we're meant to be together, get over here. And I asked Mike, I said, in the course of doing this bit, you've done this many times. He said, hundreds of times, with thousands of people. I said, has any guy ever said, come here, we're meant to be together? He said, not once. Well, this is supposed to be a big event, meeting your soulmate, right? But somewhere in the back of their mind, they have a very bad program running. So I thought, wow, that's really weird. That's pretty scary. I said to Mike, the whole point of this is you're trying to point out how people are doing this to themselves all the time anyway, aren't you? He said, that's right. I said, so in other words, we should be looking for where are you humping the rag doll? You know, where are you fucking humping the rag doll in your life? I had many people come up to me and say, Ross, that really struck a point. We say that in the office. Oh, you're humping the rag doll today. That point really got driven home. And the other thing is, you know, it just amazes me. I've told this story before. I'm going to tell it again. It's a really important, powerful story. I had a student call me up and say, you know, I've tried your stuff and it was really working for me. And I went to this club and I picked up the best looking woman there. I went right up to her. She was shutting guys down left and right. Went up to her, was making out with her in the fucking club. Got her number. He goes home, waits a couple of days. Then when he goes to call her, guess what? He can't find the number. He's lost it. So he rips his house apart, turns over his apartment, tosses the bed, open with that mounting feeling of panic. And then he figures, holy shit, it's trash day. I threw it out in the trash. He goes dumpster diving. You know those great big dumpsters? He's down there for 90 minutes, he tells me, digging through people's discarded toilet paper, everything. 90 minutes later, he comes up, empty-handed, and he said, quote, my old self came back. My old self came back. I thought, that's weird. Where was it when you were in the club? Where was his old self when he was in that club? Anybody? And when it came back into his body, where did his new self suddenly go? Huh? The Twilight Zone? Where? Dimension X? Bizarro world? Me am bizarro, Ross. Me am not picking up girls. I'm serious. Think about it. Where did it go? Anybody? Somebody? Yes, Ben.
Maybe they didn't go anywhere. He just changed the program so that the old things that he was doing.
Right, exactly. See, he had a belief. What happened is he hypnotically hallucinated away all his progress. Suddenly, he couldn't even see all the good stuff he did in that club. All he could see was the end result, that he lost the number. He hypnotically hallucinated away all of his success, and he had to start from scratch all over again. My point being, it's the way you're thinking about these big problem areas, it's producing the problem. That's it. The way you're thinking about the problem and the emotions surrounding it is what's keeping you, or has kept you up to now, dumb, stupid, or barely making the progress that you really want to. That's it. If I took that way of thinking, responding, emoting, and acting, and could install it in someone else's head, guess what? Your old self would come back into their body, and they'd fuck up too. That's it. That's 90% of it. The other 10% is the technical stuff you do in the field. So, before I get to showing you how to make these beliefs real for you, what I want to point out is beliefs can do a lot to structure your reality. They really can. The illustration I gave to this guy says, you know, that's funny because I met this girl and she gave me her number. She flaked on me a couple of times. So I threw the number in my old cookie tin. I have a cookie tin. Old cookie tin where I throw numbers that go stale on me and don't go anywhere. Like every 30 days I'll pull one out and call it at random. Sometimes I don't even know the name of the person I'm calling. I've forgotten. They didn't write it down. So I called this girl up after she flaked on me a couple of times and said, hey, Vanessa, it's Ross. I just wanted to give it one last shot. I give you an opportunity to talk. You know, he didn't strike me as someone who'd blow your own opportunity to discover what it is you want to explore and enjoy. So the last sound you hear will be the sound of your number going through my paper shredder. And that's exactly what I did. I held the phone up to my paper shredder and put the number through the shredder. And that was it. She called me back a minute later. saying that was the rudest, nastiest message in the history of mankind. I said, well, it worked, didn't it? You're calling me back. You responded to the slap on the ass instead of the caress on the back, didn't you? She went, yeah, I guess you have some kind of magic. She wound up coming over. So bottom line is, what is a phone number? Is a phone number something to get your knickers all in a twist and rip your house and go dumpster diving over? Or is it an annoyance you can use to tweak someone and get them to call you and want to come over and fuck you? Which is it? Which is true? Neither and both. Depends on your frame of reference. Depends on your beliefs and what you believe you can do. Right? Where are you going to invest your meaning? Your frame of reference. Is light a particle or a wave? So is it a particle or a wave? Something that displays the properties of either depending on how it's measured, correct? You can absolutely do an experiment that shows that light is a particle, correct? Yes? You can collect photons. Or you can do an experiment that shows it's got a wave function. Same thing. Same thing. So beliefs. What do beliefs do? Let me review this with you. Beliefs do the following things. First of all, a belief can open or close levels of awareness. Beliefs can open or close access to levels of awareness. So if you don't even believe in something, you won't even see it going on. So beliefs can open or close access to levels of awareness. So write that down. Very important. Some of this may be redundant for those of you at home. I don't care. This is an illustration I love to give with people. Is I always get a speed seduction seminar. I get one guy who can talk to women in bars and clubs. That's easy. But approaching women on the street, he thinks it's impossible, right? Then I get a guy who can approach women on the street, but he can't talk to women in bars and clubs. I get them in the front of the room. I have them argue with each other, right? Oh, clubs are difficult. Street is easy. No. Clubs are easy. Street is difficult. And they argue back and forth. And then I have them switch limitations. I go, okay, you take his limitation. You take his limitation. Now they're defending the other guy's limitation. Well, what's the reality? The reality is it depends on your beliefs, your skills, and your abilities. That's it. Technology. So beliefs can open or close access to levels of awareness. Second, beliefs can open or close access to levels of skill and ability. And we're going to get into this a little bit later when we get into the beliefs that make you influential with other people. One of the strong beliefs I have, remember, is I never take a woman's first response, and you don't need to write this down now, but I never take a woman's first response to me as written in stone. It's only a reflection of what they're thinking, feeling, or believing in that moment, always subject to change. And because I have that belief, I don't suddenly get rattled when someone throws at me, I have a boyfriend. Right? I just take it, that's a response to what they're thinking, feeling, or believing in that moment. The other, and we'll get to this, but one of my other beliefs is everything they offer me is just information. Okay, great. She just told me she has a boyfriend. That's a whole range of responses she has with him that I can evoke and tie to me. Perfect. Right? Yeah. So, beliefs can open or close access to levels of skill and ability. Beliefs can open or close access to, I said information and awareness, right?
No, you said, oh yeah, awareness.
Awareness include in there information. Absolutely. Forgive me, you should include that in. Beliefs can also open or close access to flows of energy. And the final thing I'll point out for now about beliefs is beliefs tend to be self-confirming, meaning they tend to draw to you the circumstances, events, and situations that confirm them as being true. Beliefs tend to feed on themselves. Well, it must be true. You ever try arguing with someone? I'll tell you something funny. Try arguing, and I mean no disrespect to anyone, try arguing to a fundamentalist of any religion. Doesn't matter. Whether it's a fundamentalist Christian, an Orthodox Jew, they'll defend their positions. I've done this with, believe me, I'm non-sectarian. I'll tweak anyone's nose when it comes to orthodoxy. Like, I've argued with Bible-believing Christians who are convinced every word in the Bible is true. No, nothing is. It's all literally true, no metaphor included. So they're believed, for example, that the earth is 5,000 some odd years old. I said, what about the dinosaurs? Well, the dinosaurs and man coexisted at the same time. Really? They did? That's not what the science shows. Well, how come the humans weren't wiped out by the dinosaurs? Well, God didn't want humans to be wiped out. Why aren't the dinosaurs around now? God destroyed them in the flood. But the Bible says that Noah took 2 of every living creature onto the ark. So weren't there dinosaurs on the ark? Well, yes, there were, but afterwards God destroyed them because he knew they were dangerous to mankind. Okay, sure. Oddly enough, I've had Orthodox Jews tell me the same thing. You know, the really fun people, if you want to see beliefs in action, back when I was a student at UCLA for a very short time, they had the Flat Earth Society there on Bruin Walk. These are people, I think they're not real, they just like to argue with people. I don't think it's for real, but they pretend that they're convinced that the earth is flat. And anything you present to them, they can argue away. They do it just to steam people up. What do you mean the earth is flat? You can see, what about a sailboat when you see it disappearing on the horizon? It's an optical illusion. Oh, really? Okay, how about all the space shots that show the earth as a sphere that's round? Those were fake. Obviously they were fake because the earth is flat. Oh, it just goes around. Beliefs tend to be self-confirming. They tend to filter out any information that would challenge them. This is why if you're stuck in the belief that you're ugly or you can't be successful, and you try to filter new material through that belief, you're going to contaminate the new material. Yes?
But this can be a good thing too, right?
It can be a good thing too if you have beliefs that allow the maximum amount of learning and expansion and freedom. Sure, absolutely. And there's a total nutcase on the internet. His big thing is the moon shots did not occur. We never went to the moon. And his arguments are so butt-plug stupid that a first-year physics student in high school could tear them to pieces, but he's convinced. This guy's sincere. He's butt-plug militantly stupid and delusional, but he's going to know, well, what about all the film? Those were faked. All the moonshots were really done, moon landings were done in a movie studio. Well, why do you say that? Because we can't go to the moon, so it must be fake. Well, then so thousands of people participated in this hoax, but not one person has come forward. That's because they're scared. Well, why are they so scared? Because they know it's a big hoax, and people would be angry if they found out. Oh, okay. Well, how do you know it's a hoax? Because we didn't go to the moon. And back we go. But you do the same thing to yourself. People in your life do the same thing to themselves. They have a really strong, rigid belief that they're looking at the world through, and people could be orthodox about anything. They're Orthodox Jews, Orthodox Hindus, Orthodox Muslims, Orthodox angry people, Orthodox scared people, Orthodox victims, Orthodox sad sacks, where everything is filtered through that.
What is it about the aspect of orthodoxy that encourages this aspect
Because
of
it doesn't,
self-confirmation?
why? Because it offers the promise or the illusion of certainty. And humans love certainty. Humans will kill other people to enforce their sense of certainty. What do you think religious wars are about? People will kill each other. People will kill and murder and do the most bizarre shit, all in the name of ideology and certainty. Because humans crave certainty. Stupid humans. I want you guys to crave, welcome, and accept uncertainty. Crave, welcome, and accept uncertainty. I'm not talking about putting your life in danger, but real creativity, real learning, really breaking the boundaries of what other people are stuck in requires uncertainty. I've been through years of it, not knowing if something would work. Not necessarily the most pleasant thing, but it sure produces results. I want you to learn to welcome uncertainty. My mom taught me 3 powerful words. Get lost, kid. No, my mom taught me 3 things. My mom taught me 3 things. I don't know. I should welcome those. Those are the most exciting words next to, let's fuck, Ross. I don't know are exciting words. That means you're on the frontier. That means you've reached the boundary that other people bounce off of. I don't know. Fuck, cool. I don't know. Listen, at least as far as the meat is concerned, you ain't getting out of it alive. As far as the meat is concerned, so let's go find out. I don't know. Now, learning can be costly if you don't have the right beliefs. But the more you have these beliefs in line, the quicker you're going to learn. The quicker you're going to be able to pull back from things that aren't working. Okay? Is this making sense?
Yeah.
What's the most important point I made in the last 15 minutes? Somebody. Yes?
Beliefs tend to beliefs will give you your representation of reality, even though it doesn't, something does not continue to exist even though you don't believe in it. Your entire human experience will be filtered through your beliefs. That's what
Right.
I'm talking about.
Exactly right. Your beliefs are going to be, your reality is going to be filtered through your beliefs. Okay? Yes, sir. You got a comment?
Beliefs form your life.
They're a big aspect of it. I wouldn't say your whole life, but they form, that's not something, I didn't say beliefs form your life, but they're an important part of it. Obviously, there are things going on. Look, whether you and I believe it or not, if I drop this glass, if I let go of this glass, it's going to fall and probably break and maybe even shatter, and someone's going to get splashed. I'm not talking about that.
I think it's interesting to think of this picture of a belief as a gate.
Belief is a gate. I like that. That's a good symbolic representation. It's a gate. Is he
Yeah.
going to stop something or let something in? I like that. Very good. That's very good. Nice job. So, now that we've got that, let's talk about the process of making beliefs something symbolic so it can get into your right brain, something you can begin to incorporate into your behavior. So what is the process by which we do this? Well, there's more than one, and there's more than one that I teach, but I want to show you a couple simple things that you can do. First and foremost, this gets into the idea of sigils. Now, don't go freaking out. Sigils are cool. Sigil is just a symbolic representation of something. If you don't like the word sigil, let's say symbol, or we can say pictograph. I don't care what you call it.
Sigil have a negative connotation to it?
No, but some people get freaked out about the word magic, you know. Sigil, symbol, pictograph, glyph, logo, which by the way comes from the Greek word logos, meaning the word. In the beginning was the logos, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, blah, 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 bullshit. St. John. St. Ross, chapter 6, verse 69. Thou shalt not put thy tongue where they cannot see further than 1 inch. Okay. All it means is we're going to take something that's a written statement that has cognitive left brain meaning and turn it into a symbolic, a symbol of some kind, an image. A visual image, a symbol, could be a squiggly line, a picture. Do you understand what I'm saying? For example, for me, when I related that story, this jerk-off detective in England, I won't say his name, who burned all those days and hours of my focus, my mind presented to me the symbolic image of huge grinding gears that would grind all that resentment down to fine powder, reduce it to nothing. Yes?
Yeah.
So, I want you to begin to think in terms, remember we talked about transmutation? Yes? Let's start with that. The notion of transmuting, refining, purifying, recycling. Yes? What I want you to do is, there are different ways to come up with this. I come up with some of my best imagery in the shower or as I'm shaving. It'll pop into my head. You can do it while you're walking. You could do it in trance. There are a lot of different ways you can do it. So let's give you an assignment. What I want you to do is take the next 15 minutes, and I don't want you sitting at your chairs. Go for a walk, go walk by the pool, go walk by the beach, stand on your head, do something, and see if you can't, what kind of imagery occurs to you in your mind, whether it's a picture or a logo. And what do I mean by a logo? Anyone here wearing Nikes? Any sportswear? Look at this symbol. This symbol is universally recognized. Let me tell you something. See this symbol here? I was in Jerusalem 2 years ago now, and we were driving by the Palestinian territories. The Palestinians were wearing the Nike shit, Nike shirts, Nike shoes. The Israelis were wearing Nike shirts, Nike shoes. I'll tell you something ironic. Last year when the Iraqi resistance was kidnapping foreigners and holding them for ransom, remember? They were showing videos, we're going to chop off their heads. They had some, I think it was a Japanese guy at gunpoint, and you know what I saw in the video? I swear to you, the guy had a Nike logo on his shirt. The terrorist who was holding him at gunpoint had a Nike logo, and they were all talking about, we are going to destroy Western influence of imperialist American running dog, blood-sucking Zionist vampire, Jew bastard, blah, blah, and they got the Nike shit. I'm not kidding, that's what I saw. He had a Nike logo on his fucking shirt. You can do a logo, yes? Or you can do an image or a picture or something, as long as it's nonverbal. Do we understand what I want you to do? So take 15, 20 minutes, take your papers with you if you want to be able to sketch something, and come up with some symbolic representation that represents transmuting,